Hi, this is Larry Dorff, Math Curriculum Consultant for Big Ideas Learning. And this is part 2 of the video, taking a tour of the Big Ideas Math website. On the first video, we took a look at how to register and log in so that we can access all of our teacher and student resources. And then we took a look at the Teacher tab and all of the online resources that are available for teachers there. On this video, we're going to take a look at the Student tab and all of the features that are available to your students both at home and at school. So just a reminder, if you have not yet registered, click on Register at the upper right-hand corner of the screen, type your 12-digit access code, and then create a username and password. If you need assistance with registration, please take a look at part 1 of the video, taking a tour of the Big Ideas Math website. I'm going to go ahead and click Login, and I'm going to type in the username and password that I created during the registration process. Once I do that, then I'll be able to access not only the teacher resources, but the student resources as well. So here I am, I'm back on the home page, and the Student tab is right up here at the top next to the Teacher tab. I'm going to go ahead and click the Student tab, and that gives me a choice as to which book I'd like to take a look at. The books in the series, the green book is for 6th grade. The red book is for the 7th grade regular students. For the compacted pathway, we have the 7th grade accelerated program, the 8th grade blue book, and then for, again, the compacted pathway in 8th grade, and in 9th, also in 9th grade, our Algebra 1 book. I'm going to go ahead and click on the green 6th grade book. And what you're going to see is a menu very similar to what we saw on the Teacher tab in the Dynamic Classroom. This is called the Dynamic Student Edition. And I have my green book in front of me, all of the chapters listed on the side. I'm going to go ahead and click Chapter 1. And here you'll see a listing of all of the sections in the chapter. And I'm just going to go ahead and click the very first section called Evaluating Algebraic Expressions. Now what I'm looking at in the middle of the screen, just like in the Dynamic Classroom, I see the student textbook. And as the student scrolls down, they can see here is the activity day and page 2 of that. And then as they move a little bit further down the line, the lesson day, and here is page 2 of the lesson. And then as I go a little further, the exercises. So the students have their entire textbook right in front of the screen so that they can take a look at that at any moment, both the activity and the lesson, and then of course the exercises to work on as well. Now unlike the student edition in the Dynamic Classroom, the one here is interactive. And when I say interactive, a student can click on any sentence and the sentence is read to them.
How can you write and evaluate an expression that represents a real-life problem?
Both in English and in Spanish.
¿Cómo puede usted escribir y evaluar una expresión que representa un problema de la vida real?
So anytime the student is looking at the textbook and they're struggling to understand the directions or would like to listen to the words read to them, all they have to do is toggle from English to Spanish, click the sentence, and the sentence will be read to them.
You have $60. You buy a pair of jeans and a shirt. The pair of jeans costs $27. You come home with $15. How much did you spend on the shirt?
And of course they can click on the Spanish and do exactly the same thing.
Tiene $60. Compre un par de blue jeans y una camisa. El par de blue jeans cuesta $27. Usted viene a casa con $15. ¿Cuánto gastó para la camisa?
Over on the side, you'll see that the students have access to the interactive activities just like the teacher had available in the Dynamic Classroom. This one is an expression tool that matches the activity that they're going to be doing in example number 1. So they can pull up the interactive activity and they can decide how to set up a sentence that would indicate the equation that matches your babysitting for 3 hours. You'll receive $12. What is your hourly wage? So they can come down here and they can manipulate these pieces. They can do this on the computer at school or at home, and they can make an equation that they believe might match the situation. They can get help and they can reset the program and try it again if they need to. They also get more examples of this particular activity in the expression tool. So once they've completed that first one, they can try some different ones. This one's asking them to write an equation that matches the information here that says the scores on your first two history tests were 89 and 95. By how many points did you improve on your second test? And again, they can come here and they can manipulate these pieces to match the situation. Once they're finished, they can click Next Problem, and it'll give them a different problem, and so on. Over on the side, you'll notice there are lesson tutorials. There are lesson tutorials for every example from every section in the textbook. So when the students are on the lesson, you'll see that in this particular lesson there are 1, 2, 3, 4 examples, and so there are 4 tutorials, one to match each of those examples. So the students have an opportunity, if they're stuck, to view a tutorial that will match an example from the textbook. So for instance, here's one real-life example, number 4. If they're struggling with that example, they can come over here, click Lesson Tutorial, and view a tutorial of that same situation. Let's take a look at this particular tutorial that matches example number 4 from the textbook.
Your uncle gives you $10 and you save $2 a week. The expression 10 plus 2 times W gives the amount you saved after W weeks. How much money will you have saved after 2 weeks, 5 weeks, and 10 weeks? Let's use a table to evaluate the expression for each number of weeks and find the amount saved. The number of weeks are 2, 5, and 10. To find how much money you have saved after 2 weeks, substitute the value 2 for W in the expression 10 plus 2 times W. So we have 10 plus 2 times 2. Using the order of operations, we will multiply first to simplify the expression. So we have 10 plus 2 times 2, which is 4. 10 plus 4 is 14. So after 2 weeks, you've saved $14. Use a similar process to find how much money you've saved after 5 weeks and 10 weeks. The amount saved after 5 weeks is $20, and the amount saved after 10 weeks is $30. After 10 weeks, do you have enough money to buy a video game that costs $25? Explain. Use the table in Part A to find how much you have saved after 10 weeks. After 10 weeks, you've saved $30. So, the answer to the question is yes. You can buy a video game that costs $25 after 10 weeks because you have saved more than the cost of the video game.
So there's an example of one of the tutorials that are available with the program, and again, every single section in the book has a tutorial that matches every example. So a student can view the tutorial at home and even sit down with their parents if they wanted to and view the tutorials together. Also on the Dynamic Student Edition, you have the selected answers. The students can click on this and view the odd answers for that particular section. They have the glossary. You may recall seeing that in the Teaching Edition side on the Teacher tab, where the glossary is available both in English and Spanish and read to the students. The glossary flashcards, we saw that on the Teacher tab as well. That's here for the students. And the Basic Skills and Skills Review Handbook is here as well. So you may recall the Basic Skills and Skills Review Handbook are the prerequisite skills booklet that has topics ranging anywhere from as early as kindergarten all the way up to 8th grade. The Game Closet has those prerequisite review games, and students have those games available at home so that they can play them with a sibling or a parent. And we also included the Fair Game Review Help. Now you'll notice at the end of the exercises there are problems that we assign called Fair Game Review. And in Fair Game Review, there are two parts here. One part is on plotting points in a coordinate plane, and the other is talking about least common multiples. So if students are struggling to remember how to plot points in a coordinate plane or how to compute a least common multiple, they can come over to the Skills Review Handbook and click, and it takes them right to the topic that will help them. So in this case, here's the help with least common multiple. And if they click Fair Game Review for 4.2, that's helping them with the coordinate plane. So those are available for the students within each and every section of the textbook. And this is again called the Dynamic Student Edition. Now what I'd like to do is I'd like to back up to the chapter and just take a look at what's also available chapter-wide. And at the end of the chapter, you will see that there are chapter review and chapter test pieces available for the student. Let's click on chapter review. And under chapter review, you'll see again the chapter review pages from the textbook, and just like the lessons and activities in the textbook, these are also read to the students both in English and in Spanish. And you'll see many of the same things that you saw within each of the sections, like the glossary, the flashcards, the Basic Skills Review Handbook, and the Game Closet. However, we've also included in this section some vocabulary help. This vocabulary help is made with Puzzle View, which is one of the pieces that you have available through your exam view disc called the Dynamic Assessment Resources. Here the students have a word search, but not with words, with clues. So the student's given a clue, an expression that contains numbers, operations, and one or more variables. And now with that clue, they have to figure out that the word is algebraic expression. Come down here, find that word, and highlight it. The student can also find a word, highlight it, and it will record what clue went with that particular word. Once the student is finished, they can end this and print out an ending to show you, a little printout that they can provide for you to show you that they went through that particular puzzle if it's something that you wanted to assign them for an activity to do, say for extra credit or for chapter review. Back on chapter 1, I also wanted to show you the chapter test. And here we have the chapter test from the textbook, again read to the students in English and Spanish. We also have test practice, and the test practice is set up from exam view that the students can do online, and it will self-grade for them. So you'll see that there are some multiple choice items. There are also some short response, which we call numeric response, and then short answer questions as well. What the students can do is take the test online, and I'll just do a few just so you can see what it looks like. They can come down to the end, click check your work, and of course it's going to tell us we did not complete that test. But once I do, it will grade the test for them and show them how they did. The multiple choice, it will give them the correct response, and then in numeric response, it will give them the correct answer, and for the short answer, it will give them the response that they needed for that particular item. They can retake the test as often as they want. This is designed for them to practice for the chapter test. On the main screen, you'll see, again, each of the chapters are listed here, and all of those items are under each chapter. But at the bottom, you'll also find that there are the additional topics, the Appendix A, which are the interactive, or I should say interdisciplinary projects, the math and literature, the math and history, the math and art, and the math and science projects. There's also a scavenger hunt, which is the same hunt that they can find in the beginning of their textbook, but here they could print them out if they'd like to do the scavenger hunt on the piece of paper itself. And there's also a mathematics reference sheet that they can print out with some valuable information that they might need as they're going through their class. This again is all found under the Dynamic Student Edition. This is on the student side, and again all they need to do is pick their book and they'll find all of that information under the Student tab. While we're here under the Student tab, let's just take a look at the Parent tab as well. And under the Parent tab, the parents will see the vocabulary flashcards, the basic skills and skills review handbook, a parent letter for each chapter with an at-home exercise that the parents and child can do together, and again the game closet games that this parent and child can do at home. The parents never are required to use a username or password. Their site is completely free. If they need to access information from the student side, of course they can get the student's username and password to do that. So let me go back to the home page. And again, I hope this was helpful for you as we took a little tour of both the student and the parent website. If you need help, any kind of technical support, you can click technical support at the bottom. You'll see that you can email or phone us. We're available from 8 to 5 Eastern Time to answer any questions over the phone, or we can be emailed at bigideaslearning, BIL support at bigideaslearning.com, and we can answer your questions over email as well, whichever is more convenient for you. Again, my name is Larry Dorff, and I thank you again for taking the tour of the student and parent website with us. Have a great day.